Hello, you beautiful people, and welcome to I Am the Hammer, the show in which I focus on all things Grey Knight. It's been a while, I know, but with the World Team Championship just around the corner, some crazy folk have decided to take Grey Knights at the biggest event in the world, the most competitive event in the world. So I thought, let's have a little dive in and see what they have come up with. So I guess we better take a look. Okay, so in this episode, I will just very briefly look at the overall WTC picture, and then with that in mind, we can see why Grey Knights have kind of been selected or not selected. I'll then go through the three different lists that are out there, and then kind of round out by talking about where I want to be moving this series going forward. So, the overall WTC picture lists are now out. You can find them on Best Coast Pairing. I think probably the not the most exciting, but the biggest news is that Death Guard are everywhere. Okay, so 40 out of 42 teams are taking Death Guard. That generally proves that they're in a pretty good spot. Um, Obviously, Death Guard have a variety of different builds. I think there's like three different detachments that people are taking. And so, if any team worth their salt are taking Death Guard, so you've got to have a plan as a team to take on Death Guard. Okay. Something else that we're seeing is that Knights they're probably just slightly too undercosted at the moment. So we are seeing lots of Knights, big Knights, little Knights, a mixture of both, leaning one direction or the other. Kind of you can go all about it in a variety of ways. And the theme we're noticing here is these are not matchups that Grey Knights particularly like. Another theme we're seeing, and this is probably the true of 40k in general at the moment, is there's a bit more of a leaning towards kill the enemy dead as a tactic. The reason why that is far more prevalent now is because of challenger cards. Historically, you maybe were a combat pressure army that would go and keep knocking your opponent off the primary, killing them, getting slowly tabled yourself. But because you created that scoreboard lead, they couldn't then catch up. That was a style of play. That's kind of died off now. Um, and actually, it's just kill your opponent, table them, get your challenger cards, and catch up at the end. That's kind of the way it's approaching it. It's okay to go behind now. And so that is also defining the sorts of armies and lists out there. With that all in mind, Grey Knights unfortunately aren't looking quite so great. As we know, they are historically a faction that, apart from that time period where people were going 6 NDK and 3 Land Raider Redeemers or whatever, um, they're more of a grindy army, one that could take on a lot of matchups and do well, especially with things like secret missions. I know for the last season in our ITT events, that was kind of my role to just take the matchup that people didn't want and just get 8 to 12 points, whatever the game, 8 to 12 points. In WTC, that's not really a vibe that's needed. They're not in the top 8 factions. They don't have a huge amount going for them. And so that's why we're seeing only 3 teams taking them, which is a shame. Obviously, book around the corner. Hopefully that changes. And who knows what conversation we'll be having this time next year. So let's go through the list then. 2 are quite similar, so we'll start with those. So Slovakia, they've gone for teleport. Okay, so that in itself is more of a defensive detachment because it's got things like Sigil of Exigence and Mr. Demos, right? So you can be a lot more janky, a lot more careful, annoying, grinding out things, do the sneaky plays. Okay, so this one has 2 librarians. It's then got a Grandmaster on foot with first to the fray. He'll join the Terminator unit. That means he can come down first turn. Then got 2 Grandmaster Nemesis Dread Knights, one with Sigil, one with Inescapable Wrath, which is the +1 to charge. They've got Drago, who will also be attaching to a unit of Terminators, and then 2 units of Strikes. So, I mean, my initial feeling on this list is, well, it's not really much stuff, is it? So it's not much stuff, and it doesn't really have much output either. It's got to be a defensive list. Its strength, I guess you would say, is in the OC. You know, those 4 units of Terminators are obviously OC 15 plus whatever characters attached. And so if this list is played defensively, cagily, then you can absolutely just spend your life annoying people with miss and that sort of thing. It doesn't have a huge amount of output. I think it is interesting that they've gone for 2 Grandmaster Nemesis Dread Knights. They haven't got for the normal one. And if we factor in the fact that Terminators obviously have lethal hits on the charge, is there a world where they're thinking, actually, this is the sort of build that could play into Knights? Maybe. I don't know. I haven't run the figures. It doesn't feel great. But, I mean, 2 Librarians, a unit of Terminators charging in with Drago, and a couple of Grandmaster Dread Knights shooting, maybe 1 punching. You know, kill a few armages in a turn like that. It's can you keep doing that over a few turns? That's a bit of an issue. So I would say it's a defensive list. I would say there are some thoughts here to the fact that we're in a bit of a vehicle meta. In teams, having a skew like that, absolutely no problem at all. It might make people think twice. Maybe it's a bit of a surprise package. I don't know. It'll be very interesting to see how this list plays on. But yeah, it certainly feels a bit short on the ground. But yeah, the general play style of this is going to be primary Dinar with the Terminators. So then we've got Slovenia as well, and they've also gone for teleport. So they've gone for 3 Librarians, one of which has Sigil. They've gone for the Grandmaster on foot with an Inescapable Wrath, which again is +1 to charge. Grandmaster Nemesis Dread Knight can potentially deep strike down turn 1, just be annoying, especially with the 6-inch deep strike. Drago, and then they've gone, so 2 WTCs ago, there was Jack Harpster kind of broke the meta wide open with this very interesting build of 3x10 Terminators, well, 2 10s and 10 Paladins. And that was designed to nullify Eldari, who were obviously the big bad at the time. So this is a bit of a slightly less skewy because it's got 2 10s, it's got 1 5, it's then got 5 strikes for that sticky, which is nice. You've got the Librarians. You've got Feel No Pains there, so this is probably quite good into Thousand Suns because you just have Feel No Pains against all the psychic stuff for days. You've got that 1 Grandmaster Nemesis Dread Knight, just can try and bop a vehicle. Obviously, we've got Miss, we've got Sigil. Playing around that, you can be quite annoying. If you get it right, if you get your positioning right, just those 2 10-man bricks are quite annoying. In my opinion, the strength in that list was the fact that you went in with the 30 and you had those like overlapping plays and layers. They've diluted it a bit to get in like the Grandmaster Nemesis Dread Knight armor and stuff. Very interested to see how this list plays. It's going to be, it's teleport. It's going to be a bit more drawy. It's just a different way of going about doing it. There'll be some matchups which it absolutely wants to avoid. It's not going to smash anyone, I would imagine. It's probably some form of defender list going over, early defender list, maybe. And finally, we've got Thailand with their Warp Bane. So Warp Bane, obviously, with the rerolls, is a bit more aggressive list. Very interesting list here. I think off the top of my head, they were into the Razorbacks and stuff last year. Might have been Thailand. There was one country that did lean into it. I can't remember. So character-wise, only Crow. That does free up quite a few options elsewhere. So we've got 2 units of 5 strikes. We've then got 2 Razorbacks. Okay, Razorbacks having the rule that you get like rerolls to wound against whatever they shot at. 3 Rhinos. Now then, we've got the old Interceptors. So 2 units of 10 Interceptors and 1 unit of 5 Interceptors. That's exciting. And then 20 Purifiers. 5, 5, and a 10. Crow going with the 10, obviously. And then 3 times 4 units of Servitors. Interceptors are great with the vehicles because you can pop out, shoot, and then pop back into the vehicle because it's in a different phase. Obviously, their shooting's not actually that great, but it is quite nice just to be able to keep on ticking over with that sort of thing. So this would be good into like horde matchups. Like horde, this would absolutely wipe because you got the purifiers as well. The servitors are really cool because for 50 points you're getting some melter shots in there with Warp Bane as well. You are going to be dishing out spicy meatball of melter shots rerolling. No tech marinos to buff them or anything, but you get your rerolls. So yeah, I think this is a really cool list. I don't play or practice on WTC terrain, so, really. So I can't tell you what particular maps this is designed for. Obviously, 5 vehicles can be a bit of an issue. So in UKTC, for example, I think this list would potentially struggle a bit. Just trying to get those vehicles into like key positions. But WTC is probably a bit, and GW is probably a bit easier to do. And the other thing is, I mean, you've got 2 interceptor bricks. Like they are gonna hit hard. Obviously, Crow's brick is quite powerful. There's just a good amount of output here. I think this list could generate some more wins if bigger wins if paired correctly. It's not a defensive list really. I mean, you can't be when when you're taking 20 interceptors in 2 big bricks. No terminators, no vehicles, nothing like that. So yeah, I feel like my hunch is this is the sort of list that this player has used over and over and over, and is really comfortable with it and knows how to play every single matchup. And that obviously a lot goes towards that because yeah, it's very helpful in teams to have that. So I'll definitely be keeping a keen eye on this list to see how it goes. Hopefully, it appears on stream or something. So that's my run through of the lists. Hopefully, it's just interesting to look at what people are doing. Obviously, Slovakia, Slovenia, and Thailand, not any of the big teams in their respective pods. None of the big teams have decided to take Grey Knights, but hey, who knows? Maybe they will do okay. I will do a show after WTC just to go through how they got on and just see any takeaways. But what does the future hold for this series? Well, obviously, I took a bit of a break. My life is mental, baby, new house, work, etc. I'm about to hit summer holidays, so I'm going to have a bit more time. And after summer holidays, I'm actually going down to 4 days a week in order so I can have 1 day a week for content. And hopefully that times in with a brand new Grey Knights book. So I'll definitely be able to be producing a ton of informed and in-depth content about Grey Knights when it comes out, because they are coming out. They are on their way. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. Just a short video today. I am still alive, guys. I'm just not really getting to play any 40k or anything these days. But yeah, if you've enjoyed, like, comment, subscribe. As I said, we produce a huge amount of content, and there'll be a lot of Grey Knight content to come. Got a really great Discord with it's got over 800 people in it. Really, the Grey Knight section is very quiet, but it's very popular. If you want to become a member, we have members only videos. Lots of them. We have members only leagues, painting competitions, and all sorts. We do coaching, offer coaching. I've got I do coaching. Got a Grey Knights client actually. Hi Jim, if you're watching. So yeah, we'll be diving in that together. I've got a load of other Grey Knight content, which is all pretty relevant out there. So if you want to go through the playlist, I've written here next time first reaction to the new book. Actually, the reality is my next video will be going through the WTC results for Grey Knights and seeing if Thailand, Slovakia, and Slovenia took the world by storm, because I will be keeping an eye out on them. But yeah, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you might be mid-August then. Bye bye.